Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatharini. Okay, and Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We'll go to the introduction, page 1 of Bhagavad Gita. Om Jnana Timarandasya
Om Jnana Timirandasya
Gyananjana Shalakaya
Gyananjana Salakaya
Chakshur Unmilitam Yena
Chakshur Unmilitam Yena
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born
In the darkest ignorance.
And my spiritual master opened my eyes
My spiritual master opened my eyes
with the torch of knowledge.
with the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto him.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Jai. And before we get going, just want to know we are doing some classes this weekend. If you want, you can look on our website, the Walking Monk website. Everything should be up to date in terms of the links. If you do have a question about any future talks that we're giving or discussions that we're conducting, but then you can do that, or you can check with Star Trek. He's the one with the maple leaf in the background there, okay? And he'll give you the info. Okay, so now we are looking at chapter 9, correct?
Yes, Maharaj.
Can somebody tell us the shloka? I moved my marker around.
Text 31. Text 31, Maharaj.
Yes. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
With my 5:30, something weird happens around here. I think that's when the ghost comes in or something like that. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you, but you're frozen.
I think you must be in Calgary.
No, he's not even in the meeting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare
Which verse is it?
31, Maharaj.
31. Okay. Okay, so now we went through some real key verses here the last two weeks, and they are prime verses, and they're very meaningful to us. Like say, when we did 30, we were talking about if one does something wrong, don't shun them. Krishna doesn't reject them. So who are we to reject someone if they have entered into a dark, let's say, moment in their life and they've gotten weak? We don't want to lose them. You know, Krishna's kind to them, so we should. So text 31 then. Okay, this is Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvas Chanting Jagatachi Kauntaya Pradijani Name Bhakta Pranashati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So this verse is a follow-up from the one previous, where we're talking about somebody who fell into sin, you could say, or fell out of grace. And here's what Krishna has to say. If somebody is rightly situated, they slip up in their devotional life, they make a mistake. If they rectify themselves through changing their actions and the feeling of regret and remorse, they are not to be rejected. So this is the follow-up verse. He becomes righteous and attains peace, shanti. Everybody knows shanti, the Sanskrit word, means peace. And then Krishna goes on to say something really incredible here. It says, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So Krishna is not going to take devotion away from anybody, even if they act non-devotionally by mistake or by, let's say, what we can say, an incidental moment. So this is a very bold statement. Now, Krishna says, declare it boldly. He's saying this to Arjuna, declare it boldly. Because sometimes people don't trust Krishna so much. That might sound odd, but they'll trust his devotee. After all, Krishna told a little white lie, or Yudhishthira told a little white lie. It was encouraged by the Lord himself. That's the story in the Mahabharata, and it has to do with Ashwatthama is dead. So it was a little misleading. So if people have an issue with the character of Krishna, they can always go to somebody like Arjuna and say, you tell everybody, you tell everyone that my devotee doesn't perish. Now, what does that mean practically? Does it mean that if I'm following devotion, I'm doing my japa, I'm being a good boy, I'm reading the Gita, I'm doing my puja, I'm doing all kinds of wonderful devotional things, I'm distributing books, etc., etc. Does that mean I won't die? No, you will die. Physically, you'll die. But devotionally, that spark will be sustained. That's the point that Krishna's making. Once you've got caught in serious devotional service, you will always be kindled. You will always be sustained in your bhakti, in your devotion. So that's what we're talking about. So in the purport, Prabhupada says this should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may be justly raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord have no good qualifications, as is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. So let's say if somebody is, there's 2 examples here of what we call a fall down. And by accident, it was like something impulsive happened, or by intention. That means it's premeditated upon. I'm going to do something that I shouldn't do, but I've been thinking about it. I'm going to do it anyways because, it'll give me I'll get a little bit of a rush from doing it, or I'm just tempted too much and it's hard for me to restrain, etc., etc. So those kind of things do happen. But what Prabhupada is making very clear here is that whether you fall down by accident or by intention, if you take to the process of the 9 devotional practices, you can get rectified. And those practices are hearing, chanting, remembering, praying to, becoming a servant of the Lord, surrendering everything to the Lord, befriending the Lord, etc. 9 processes altogether. Then you can get cleansed from the contaminants. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there's a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, that term is used quite a lot, falls down, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here, there's no such condition because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations. So, I'd just like to add this and we'll ask for your contributions. If you keep yourself busy in devotional activities, there's no chance that, you can slip away. It's a matter of being busy. It's a matter of being busy in bhakti, We have to be like a honeybee, get the honey. You have to be like a bee, be busy. No bees are allowed to be just kind of like to take it easy and lie down on an easy chair or something like that and have a smoothie. They're all expected to work quite hard. Just keep busy, keep active. An idle mind is a devil's workshop, they say. So keep active in the 9 processes of devotional service. Any questions on this at all? Comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please acknowledge sound to Prabhupada. Can you hear me, Maharaj?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So, say a person is doing a devotional service in the temple.
Yes.
He's doing regularly puja and he's doing service, very sincere devotee. And somebody from behind criticizes and he hears that,
Mm-hmm.
So that makes him feel very bad.
Right.
So how do we...
Bad for himself or bad for the person?
Bad as a person, he's criticized, as a human being, even though he's trying his best, but he's being criticized. And
well, I think that
bad.
Person, right, he's feeling bad. Well, the way you can sort of channel your thoughts is that, okay, this person is criticizing me. I feel very bad for him that he's criticizing. Why is he criticizing? It's supposed to be one of the 10 offenses on the top of the list. And I feel very sorry for that individual, he or she, why they're sort of lodging weapons towards me. That's too bad. That's not so devotional. Maybe I can try to help that person and see, encourage that individual to approach life in a different way. So if you're feeling sorry for yourself, that's one thing. Well, don't be discouraged. Krishna will look after you if you're sincere. But if a person out of ill motivation or out of habit gets critical and, I think that individual has to be very made aware that if you keep up that kind of a spirit, some bad karma will be incurred. So I would say feel less pity for yourself, feel something for the other individual.
Thanks, Maharaj.
I mean, I might have given some examples before. When I walked Canada and I walked the US, it happens sometimes that redneck people, come around and they'll say something and they'll slowly drive by and they'll think I'm a freak, because I'm dressed differently. So they'll make a remark and then they blast off so you don't have a chance to talk to them or a chance to respond. So it happened a few times like that for me when I was doing cross-country walking. And then I figured, I just wanted to I could strangle him. I could get a shotgun on him and do the hillbilly thing or something, But, on further processing, I thought, I should just, why is that person so insecure that he has to make a remark? He doesn't know me. So I should feel sorry for him. I'm hoping I can meet him down the road and he'll be more mature. So let's feel less sorry for ourselves, feel more sorry for the individual that's lodging the complaints or making remarks, have feeling for others. I mean, take a humble position.
Yeah.
If someone is criticizing, you say, oh, you don't have any bhakti. You're right. That's right. I don't have any bhakti. Says, well, you're not doing the procedures right here. Yeah, that's true. Can you show me how to do it the proper way? Just flip it around. Make it, have fun with it. And of course, people, you like to do backstabbing. It's not when you're there, but sometimes you need help in those circumstances. But I would say that's a symptom of a neophyte, someone who's not very advanced, who likes to just, let's say, pick fault with everybody and becomes very judgmental. Remember the word, within the term judgmentalism, you have something called mental.
Mental.
You're mental. They think I'm mental, but actually maybe you're mental. Does that help out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't be too sensitive, It's not always a good idea to be too touchy, like you let things roll off the back, just like a duck with the rainwater just rolls off the back of the duck. Let it roll off. Or, you can just have a lot of fun with it. So, Prue, you're criticizing me. That's good. Can we sit down together and I want to hear more about me. Tell me more about me, all the bad things that I'm doing. Because I really want to improve. I sincerely want to do my best. So it seems like you're very good at self-analysis. So please tell me more that I can do. Okay, maybe they'll back off. Oh. Usually people who do this kind of criticism, they're very cowardly and they actually have a lot of psychological problems. So that's why I say have some pity for them, less on yourself, more on them. What do you think?
Yeah, makes sense, Maharaj.
Well, I think you have to take it the saintly way, or you take it the Kshatriya way. If you want to be a Kshatriya about it, okay, let's meet in the back alley. Here's your sword, here's mine. Let's go at it. Or I'll take your tongue out. And that's not always the superior approach. The superior approach is try to reason and take a humble position. At least that's one technique. Anybody else have some helpful hints on that kind of scenario? Anybody?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I have a question regarding this question. How can we get Kshatriya qualities?
How to get Kshatriya qualities? Like in a case like this, somebody's criticizing you, Markandeya Rishi, and you want to get your sword out?
Yes,
No.
for example.
No, first of all, you want to be able to convince them that in a Brahminical way, that maybe if you have some issues with me, tell me straight on, and try not to make it public, but tell me sincerely what it is you feel that I could be doing better at, and I'll do my best to improve. So as far as being a Kshatriya goes, chapter 18, text 43. Chapter 18, text 43. 1843. That was probably a very good year. Those are the qualities of a Kshatriya. There's, I believe, 7 particular qualities of what is a Kshatriya. Do you want to look at them?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So if you want to cultivate Kshatriyism, then do heroic deeds. Power refers to Teja. Let's see. That would refer to strong body, strong mind, right? Strong body, strong mind. The next one, determination, which is dhriti. Dhriti is there. Dhriti means to have a lot of conviction, be very focused, what has to be done. Just like if you see the police, there's a report that there's someone who stole a car. So then you get in your cab and you just run like anything to try to get the guy and head him off the pass. So you have to be very focused. Kshatriyas are resourceful, so that's the next term, daksham. Like dakshin or dakshan means you have to have some wealth. You have to be able to not just to flaunt it or to show it off, but you are resourceful in the sense that you know how to manage your wealth. You place funds where there's need. You have reserve, money on reserve. That's what a Kshatriya enforces. He's resourceful. And, a Kshatriya is somebody here, please don't try to do this in your country. It might not be allowed. But in ancient times, in the Vedas, a king would have several wives. And that's usually because the female population is oftentimes larger in number than the males. And if a male person, like a Kshatriya, is resourceful, that means he can take care of more than one person. He'll have several queens. And then this would ensure progeny so that the kingdom will reign and rule on. Courage in battle. Okay, so that means don't be intimidated. Go and get the job done. Go out there with bravado, right? Bravado, or be brave, bravado. Go there with your chest out, forward, march, and do the best job you can to deal with the enemy. Generosity, we've got examples of Karna, who was very generous. Bali Maharaj also took the disposition of being like a Kshatriya. They were very kind. Because they were resourceful, they could give. So that's Dhanam. Dana means when you're generous. And then Ishvara also show leadership qualities. Lead. One nice phrase we heard Peter Burwash say, if you want to lead, then read. So behind your leading, there has to there has to be a background of information. You have to have some experience. You should read from those who were good leaders, and then you can become a good leader. Okay, so these are the qualities of a Kshatriya. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 qualities. A good leader is one who makes good decisions based on experiences from the past. Based on different scenarios, and then they have set certain precedents that you can go by when it comes to making a decision. So these are great qualities, aren't they?
Yes.
Aren't they good qualities? Yeah. Like when we think of Bhishma Dev or somebody like that, he had possessed all these natural qualities that make people feel safe and secure and protected, right? Nowadays, it's all about protection. So if your government says, okay, now is not a very good time to be out, hugging each other and kissing each other and smooching. Now it's better to keep a little bit apart from each other. That means your leaders are doing their job because of the virus, right? So they're giving an order, an injunction. Okay, this is one thing you have to do. And here's another thing you can do. Watch what you eat. Of course, they don't talk about that very much. Social distance, sanitize, all those things, right? So if the leaders are promoting this kind of thing, then they're doing the job. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
So you would like to be a Kshatriya, Markandeya?
I would like to be, yes. I remember Arjuna and all the on the devotees involved in the Bhagavad Gita war, and
Yes.
I think that I would like to be one of those devotees.
One of those warriors.
Yes.
Okay,
For me.
well, the next time there's a war going on, we'll tell you you're available. Of course, one thing that we must understand about being a Kshatriya, even in the Mahabharata, the Kshatriyas, they say, I feel cursed to be a Kshatriya, because it gets so difficult after some time. It's all about fighting. Like when Alexander the Great, when he made it to India, he went all started from Macedonia, way up in Greece area, made his way east. Once he got to India, they were tired. All of his men were just tired. Because we don't want to do this anymore. It seems like we're just doing this for you. So, and in the Mahabharata, many of the Kshatriyas were talking about, I feel cursed, because we're just going day after day after day. And yet it was considered that the war was necessary. Even Krishna had made a remark about that with Duryodhana. Okay, we cannot reason with you. You have exploited us, so that there will be war. Okay, so there are a class of people that need to be in that to protect us, to serve and protect them. One thing I realized too, that in my walks across the US and Canada, the police were pretty good with me. They were really nice. Once in a while, they'd come around and said, okay, what's going on here? Because then my orange clothes said, they thought I was from a prison. What have you got in there? And I got my hands in the bead bag. So these are my prayer beads for peace. Okay, where are you from? I said, I'm from Canada. Oh, all right. You got to be nice to the tourists. Otherwise, they were doing their job. They were very nice. Even they looked out for me. Said, I heard what you're doing. I think it's great. Are you needing anything? I had some policemen, they'd give me donations. You're not supposed to do those kind of things on the job. They give donations. The apples, water. I was in the Midwest, and one guy, he pulled over. I couldn't understand what he was doing. We were in the middle of nowhere, on a side road. And he opened up his trunk. He was a young guy, a real Kshatriya, fine-looking young man. And he said, well, I understand what you're doing. You're almost halfway through the US. Here's some water for you. I got, nice people. Okay. Any other remarks that anybody would like to come up with in regards to
Krishna Maharaj.
What we've read so far?
Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Rasaraj.
Yes, Maharaj. I also face a similar situation sometimes, like somebody criticizing. So then I read a verse in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 3, verse 5. So I just read out quickly. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the three modes of material nature. So when I read this verse, Maharaj, this helped a lot, because then I'm thinking he's helplessly acting to according to his nature. So if I mean so we cannot I don't I my thoughts changed a lot. And then I also I read in Prabhupada's Srila Prabhupada's purport in Bhagavatam, that Krishna is saying himself that uh, think that the aggressor is acting helplessly out of his something similar. So after that, I changed a lot, and I never took the critics seriously on myself, but just took as an opportunity to improve. So that was very helpful, Maharaj.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. We had one political leader. He had sort of a defect in his mouth. That's one of our leaders in Canada. And some years ago, it was time for the elections, and people were deciding who to vote for. And the opposing party, they said, "Would you want a prime minister like that looks like this?" And they criticized. It's really low stuff. And you know what he said? "What can I do? God made me this way." It was just like a perfect answer. And it made the other party look so low. It worked in his favor. That's Jean Chrétien. He's like a French Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, he just had the right
Great
answer.
example.
You know how to dealt with it. And there's this one. I mean, you guys know entertainers better than I do. There was one Irish girl. She was quite famous. Maybe Andy, you can help us. I don't know. She she got on the stage. She's an entertainer, singer, I guess. She took a picture of the Pope. That was the Pope, 2 popes prior to the one we have now. And she took in the audience and tore it up into pieces, Okay, so I don't know if the audience liked it, approved or not. So then news got to the Pope. And he said, "Oh, she tore my picture on the stage. Well, I'll give her many more. I'll give her a whole big stack so she can do more." Wasn't that a brilliant answer?
Yes,
Isn't it?
Yes, Maharaj.
I mean, just think about it, You want to criticize me? Sure, tell me more. Give me 108, let's say, criticisms, and maybe go to 1,008, Let's have a nice game, okay? And now it's your turn, okay? After you finish with me, can we, I guess you just have to play around like that. Okay, good points. I mean, again, I'm just saying that this is powerful stuff. And always keep one thing in mind. Someone might criticize, but do you think Krishna is so full of criticism towards you? He accepts you as you are. And he especially loves it when you make some improvement, make some endeavor. He looks at your endeavor.
Yes, Maharaj.
That's such a nice point. Actually, I had a question related to this because you mentioned, and Prabhupada mentions, that we shouldn't criticize devotees who fall down, and we shouldn't look down and have this very kind of liberal attitude. But then with this, it can be very easy to then just be, well, I'm properly situated. So, any mistake I might do, it's okay because I'm rightly
I'm pure.
situated. So how can we be careful of that attitude of, well, if it's okay and if we can't criticize anyone, and if Krishna accepts me as I am, then I'm okay, right? So how can we be careful of that?
You're being complacent, right? I think that's what you're talking about. Being complacent.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's being complacent, but it's saying, well, I'm fallen, but I'm rightly situated, so I'm okay. Like I
Oh, yes, I see. Oh, one has to be very careful. What you're talking about is going down the ego lane, don't be too self-confident. That's the point. Don't be too self-confident in devotional life. That everybody knows the story of the Titanic. It was human error, human calculation, human stupidity, overconfidence. So always be on guard, and don't feel that, I don't have to worry too much because I'm doing my chanting. That's actually another one of those offenses. I can make some mistakes. I'm chanting, so I can be relieved of what might be bad karma. So again, it is a kind of arrogance. It is a kind of complacency, and you just want to go there. You don't want to be there. You want to remember simply what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said: Trinadapi sunichena, turorapi sahishnana, amanina manadina, kirtaniya sadahari. And that simply means that, take a humble position. And I think Vishnu Priya was saying that, or Guru was saying that eat lots of humble pie. If you're going to eat pie, eat humble pie. That means take a humble position. Yes? Under all circumstances.
But
Except for a Kshatriya, when he's on the battlefield.
But can't you take a humble position and still be fallen?
Take a humble position and be followed? Well, usually if somebody's very sincere about their humility, no, they're going to make correction. See, what follows genuine humility is I'm going to correct. I'm going to improve. I will enhance my devotional endeavors. Otherwise, it's fake. It's phony. What is your humility? I mean, you sometimes, oh, Maharaj, oh, I touch your lotus feet. Oh, you are so wonderful, And inside, there's not, you're talking about a mityachara, like somebody who's just faking it, just a phony. I mean, just sometimes you'll meet people like that. They express themselves outwardly as being humble, but inwardly it doesn't match up. Right? So people will know, I mean, the gauge for knowing someone is sincere is when they make an endeavor to improve. I remember when I was a new devotee, we went to the city where I first met devotees in Sudbury, Ontario. And there was this one man, he was coming to our programs and he loved Krishna, but he had an alcoholic problem. And, and he couldn't help himself. And we all felt for him because he really was trying. He was really sincere about it. And I hope he's doing okay today. I haven't seen him for 47 years or so. I think that everybody, we're not stupid. You study somebody, you see it in the eyes of an individual, whether it's sincerity or not. But actions speak louder than words. And when you see someone makes an endeavor to improve, you say, here is a man who's rightly situated. Here is a person who's genuinely trying. Okay, and if you see somebody's taking to the 9 processes of devotional service and doing it really from the heart, then okay, here is, someone who's really trying to make a difference. All right. So does anybody else have any remarks they want to make on this particular verse, this shloka, which is the creme de la creme? Okay.
Just a quick one, right?
Yeah.
In order to fall down, we have to be high.
Yeah.
If we are on the floor, how are you going to fall down? That's why Krishna says, sadhureva samantavyaha.
Right.
When you are a sadhu, you can fall down. And then you are appreciated by Krishna. But if we are a nonsense and we fall down, what is the question of being fallen? We never felt.
True. It's a good example. Like they have this thing high on their horse, If you're sitting high on your horse and the horse just happens to be going a little too fast, or he's galloping through the trees and there's a branch a little bit too low, the horse clears it, but you don't. You'll fall, and it will be, that fall is more severe than if you're walking and you fall. Why? Because there's a greater distance, there's a higher speed, right? So the higher you are with your ego, the more dangerous it can be. So lie low. Think low. Think humble. All right. Anybody else? Because we're actually doing good. We have a little over 10 minutes, and we may not necessarily need to get to the next verse, which is another super duper jam-packed, full of bhakti verse, this next one. And it touches on gender discrimination, racial discrimination, and all those kind of things, so we'll look at that. But before we go to that verse, are there any other illuminations that are coming from any of you at all? Any at all? How about Mr. Murari Gupta? It's a, oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted. You can unmute if you like. Okay. So, anybody else? Any other remarks? How do you like this shloka? I'm just telling you. Krishna's showing a seeming favoritism towards his devotees. We went through a similar verse like this before. The point is that he's reaching out to the devotees because they reach out to him. Otherwise, he's equally disposed towards all. Okay, so shall we go? We got a little time to kill. Any other questions, luminaries? Illuminations. Yes.
We have about 10 minutes instead of going to a new one. Can you say any stories from your walk?
Stories from?
Your walks in.
Oh, stories from the walks? Yeah, sure. I mean, before I came here, I was sitting in the park and I met a man, his name's Fraser. It's the second time I met him in 1 week. And I was sitting on a bench high on the hill and I saw this guy, I waved. And he was going to go ahead. Then he turned and decided to come up. So you mentioned the other day when I talked to you that you walked across Canada. And I said, yeah, and the US. I said, yeah, I did that altogether 5 times. And then we got to talking and he just wanted, have you ever encountered dangerous situations, I said, yeah, a biker. I was walking with a Cuban devotee. Murari Gupta knows him, as Jamuna Jivana, right?
Oh.
And a biker came to us. This is early in the morning, quiet road. And a biker came, and leather jacket and everything, helmet, said, I'm warning you guys. I'm warning you. And we were just thinking, what's he being tough about? I'm warning you. Back there's a black bear. And that bear I was going high speed, and that bear stayed right on with me. So you're on your way there. So I'm just warning you guys. So, oh, thanks a lot. So then we were walking, and finally, Giovanni was his name at the time, and I was Jamuna Jivana. I said, hey, Maharaj. He goes like this, Maharaj, because he's never seen a bear before. He's from Cuba. He never saw snow before. So, Maharaj, there's the bear. There is it. So we looked down. The bear was in the ditch next to the highway, eating wild strawberries. And I just decided to stand there. And he was nudging, Maharaj, let's go. No, I think it's okay. Just wait. So the bear was eating like this. And then at one point, the bear went on its hind legs, went out like this. And then came down on his fours and like that. And then I said to the brahmachari, okay, now we're gonna go. So the bear was in the ditch. We were standing here's the bear, here's the ditch. And we got to know that there were her three cubs were on this side. So we were standing in the way. She could have charged us, but she didn't. She was just trying to scare us. Frankly, she was really into it. She was enjoying the berries very much. I don't know if that's where bears get their name, but bears are into berries. So that's a pastime, you know. And we chanted very seriously from that moment on. Bears have been known to kill people. Oftentimes it's over food, or if they feel they're being stalked, or you suddenly, you run into them and they're surprised. And oftentimes it's when they have young around them for a mother with their cubs.
Maharaj, just yesterday, somebody here in Alberta was killed by a bear.
A
Yesterday.
grizzly, I bet, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to give us the gory details?
No, they found remains, maybe the foot of that guy inside the stomach of the.
Oh,
They need Murari Gupta to open up the belly of the bear to find the
to do
remains.
surgery. Yeah.
I would open up if the guy ate the bear, but not the bear eating the person. No.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. So that's one story.
Okay. Really? Yeah. Oh my God.
Is that I heard Arjuna? Is that right? Any other point? How about some realizations, Prabhus, on this, about Krishna being kind to the devotees? Before we all got on board, we all heard about Pancha Jangari passing away. And if you don't know him, he's been there for, almost 5 decades in Mayapur, serving the deities and in particular Narasimhadev. So devotees are praying for him, for his well-being, praying for him, please have him stay alive. So that was our discussion. So what do you think about that? Is that a decent prayer? It comes from a good place. It comes from a good heart, right? When you pray for someone. But another way to look at it is that, well, we can't be too selfish. Maybe Krishna wants that great soul, that pure devotee, to come and be in his domain. So we have to kind of let things be what they are. Let it go, right? So maybe a good prayer would be, my dear Lord, if you so desire, it would be nice if so-and-so could stay with us, but it's really up to you. So don't pressure Krishna. It's one thing to say. Don't pressure him. Mind you, he won't necessarily be pressured, but we can't tell him what to do, right? We can't tell him what to do. Sometimes he listens. He listens. There's no doubt about that. But whether he will concede or to our request, that's another matter. He has the full picture. We just have a little picture. He understands the bigger scenario. All right. Anything
Maharaj,
else?
can I ask something here?
Yes.
Like you just said that we cannot tell Krishna what to do or when to call the person back, but can we at least pray that the person does not meet a bad end or what seems bad materially, like a disease like COVID? Can we request the passing away to be smooth or something?
Krishna, please be kind to our devotees, that they'll be able to cope with COVID, that there is pain in this world, but please make it not so severe if you can do something about that.
Absolutely.
So make it hurt less, or allow the person to be strong to be able to deal with and manage it. I mean, when it comes to prayers, there's so many different kinds. I would break them up into 3 categories. but then they can be broken up into even more. Prayers in the mode of goodness, prayers in the mode of passion, prayers in the mode of ignorance. And if you want to know what these three gunas are, or these three sort of energies, then the Bhagavad Gita gives lots of descriptions, characteristics of what these three different categories are all about.
So, Maharaj,
Yes,
great
this
souls.
is Vaishnavi.
Yes.
Can you
When,
speak a little louder, please?
yeah, when great souls like Pankaj Angri Prabhu is sick or anything falls on him, it's I'm sure Krishna, like you said, Krishna has his plans, but also it is a time for all of us to pray intensely. Maybe
Yes.
Krishna is giving that chance to us. It could have happened in a second. I mean, he need not have gone through all these difficulties in one sense.
Mhm. Well, the good thing about difficulties and tragedies and whatnot, calamities, is like Queen Kunti says in Canto 1, she's saying, let there be some difficulties because I'm in a better shape. I'm in better mindset when there's problems that come at me, because then I will submit to you. And when I'm submitting to you, I feel safe. I feel protected. And I feel that, I'm thinking of you. There's smarana, constant contemplation on the Lord. So the difficult situations are not to be seen as such because they can bring you closer to God. Whereas in the scenario where everything's looking really good, oh so rosy, it's perfect, everything's paradise, and then we tend to not submit to the Lord. We tend to feel, I don't need to worry about anything. I've got it made, man. So every day we're in difficulty, and let that register as Krishna approaching us and helping us get closer to him. You can say, oh, this karma, or that person's to blame for my difficulties, or that. Stop the blame game and simply, just see whatever's coming my way. It's Krishna's mercy. That's the best way to handle it, honestly. Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
So that everybody, I can give you my, some of you have heard the poem on Pankajangri. Would you like to hear that before we sign off?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. I'll get to it. So those of you who do not know Pankajangri, he was an outstanding Pujari priest, extremely level-headed, very saintly. So here it is, Pankajangri. He was a fellow perceptibly mellow. He arrived with his brother to follow at the beck and call of Mahaprabhu in a land of mist and morning dew. From there on, it was all over. Worldliness gone, personal makeover. A dedication to good deed and thought, attention to all his divine grace brought. He learned, he grew, and did so glow, teaching others what he did know on the subject of worship and wisdom in an atmosphere of devotional rhythm. Like the Ganges with their endless liquidity, his service was one of constant fluidity. He stood at the feet of Lion Sublime. Both shone each day at the regular time. I don't recall him ever in a rage. That's because he was a genuine sage. He was an anchor for half of a century, than which his bhakti grew exponentially. A role model, our dear Pankajangri, powerfully at peace wherever he be. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. And please accept my humble obeisance. Vancha kalpatarubhyaścha Vaishnavebhyo namo. Andy, it's so nice to see you, honestly.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Maharaj. Today's my birthday.
Thank
So
you.
today's your birthday. Okay. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna, Bhakti Andy. Hare Krishna to you. Hare. So you turn 17, 18?
40.
4 decades. Whoa.
Four decades. Say, what did I do on my birthday? Took the baby to the park.
Oh, that's nice.
Went to the
Thank you,
office,
thank
took the kid to the park.
We wish you the best, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you. Wish
Any
all
other
of you-
birthdays coming up soon? Anybody else? All right. Okay, see you next week then. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.